Owners of used automobiles are furious, especially the owners of the 10 automobiles we're going to talk about here in just a few minutes. Hey, everybody, you're watching Bull Boom Bear Bust, back with another dose of economic reality. Yes, good news. To many of you, this may be good news. If you just bought a car a few months ago, and now you're underwater, it may not be good news. But prices are dropping, and we're going to go over the latest numbers here, the prices, and we're going to tie this in with the broader economy. First of all, please give us a like. Help give this video some traction, and let's get going here on the information. So car prices continue to drop. The deflation is out there. Banks are being more restrictive on their lending. They're being more choosy on who they're loaning money to. Cars are still expensive. Yes, they've dropped a little bit. We're going to talk about the numbers here in just a minute. But first of all, let's talk about deflation versus inflation and what we have out there. The Fed, they want to see slowing inflation. Well, here's one area where we're not just seeing slowing inflation, we're actually seeing deflation. And I want everybody to understand what this is. When the Fed says inflation is slowing, that's not a good thing. Prices are still going up, just more slowly overall when you tie everything together. Cars, however, different. We're actually seeing deflation. Let's go into the numbers here for you. Now, let's go right on over to a chart here. This goes all the way back to 1997, the Manheim Used Vehicle Index. And of course, you can see in the last few years, prices skyrocketed up to a value of 250% based on the index. Now we're down to just over 205%. So prices still more than doubled, since that 1997 timeframe. And actually up, over 60% or so since 2000, give or so, take a few percentage points. Anyway, you know what happened. The prices skyrocketed. We did see this bounce last summer where prices bounced back up, but now we're on the decline again. And let's get into some actual specifics on different vehicles here for you from this article. So year over year, and this compares different types of vehicles. We have mid-sized cars, pickups. Compact cars down 11.4% year over year. So pretty significant underwater. Luxury cars, 6.3%. Mid-sized cars, 7.6%. Pickups, almost 6%. SUVs, 5.4%. Vans, 6.7%. Average altogether about 6.3% down year over year. Now, you may say that's not a lot because prices went up a lot more. Yes, but keep in mind, we're just getting started. This thing is going to take a while to play out. Keep in mind, it's estimated that after rates are increased, the time frame to actually see the effects of this in the economy is typically 18 months. And we're already seeing these price declines in cars, and it's been less than 18 months since we got to these ultra high rates. Well, they're really not high from a historical standpoint, but the rates weren't where they're at right now. Now, we're going to talk about the top 10 cars that people are the most underwater in or with. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. But first of all, keep this in mind. Owners are falling behind on their car payments at a record pace, worse than the financial crisis. But yet everything's fine according to certain people out there and certain people on the news also. A record pace, folks. So think about this. Worse than the financial crisis. Car payments falling behind at a record pace. And what our chart from just a few minutes ago did not give us was the separation between gas vehicles and electric vehicles, including hybrids. Those electric vehicles are down an average of 33%. Wow, 33%. So that's huge. And so the top 10 cars that are the most underwater or have lost the most value are just about all of them electric vehicles here. I've got them noted here. The Nissan Leaf, the worst one, average price drop of over 30%. Tesla Model 3, down 30.5%. Chevy Bolt, down almost 29%. Tesla Model X, down 26.2%. Tesla Model S, down almost 25%. Chrysler Pacifica Hybrid, that is down about 20%. BMW 5 Series Hybrid, down almost 19%. Land Rover Range Rover. Wow, one of the only ones that are not electric vehicles. That's down over 18%. Land Rover Discovery, also not an electric vehicle as far as I can see, down 17.9%. And 10 Land Rover Range Rover, down 17.7%. So 10, 9, and 8 are all Land Rovers. Pretty interesting. What's going on with the Land Rovers? It's interesting that those are not the electric vehicles, but yet they made the top 10. And actually corrected here, the Land Rover Range Rover Velar comes in a hybrid, gas, and also diesel versions, right? So you've got the hybrid involvement there and the electric vehicle involvement. But the other two, I believe, are just gas or diesel. We're talking about the Range Rover and the Land Rover Discovery. And we continue to see articles such as this one out of Bloomberg. Underwater car loans signal U.S. consumers slammed by high rates. But here's the really scary part, and I just verified this here. The funds rate has only been above 5% since May of this year. And remember, the average that we see in economic downturn is about 18 months after rates are drastically increased. In this case, you could argue this is not drastic, but from near zero to over 5%, it's pretty drastic if you look at it from a historical standard as far as the amount of the increase. Now, the rate in general is not that high compared to history. Again, going back to the 1980s, we were 18% and higher for a brief period. So rates not high, but the rapidness of the increase, taking them from rock bottom to over 5%, is very drastic. So it's been less than a year, actually. In May, it'll be 1 year since we hit the 5% mark on the funds rate, and the average time frame is 18 months. What does that tell us? We have a long ways to go for this, and we're already seeing record amounts of people behind on their payments. All right, now let's talk about dollars. All used cars in the survey that came out, the iSeeCars study, average price October of this year, 29,600. October last year, 2022, 30,881. They're saying it's 4%. Keep in mind, this doesn't include the November numbers like Manheim did. All used cars, EVs, of course, the biggest one there, from 52,800 down to just under 35,000. Hybrids, not as much as EVs, down from 34,850 to 31,511. Now, here's why I think 2024 could be one of the worst years ever. Again, this whole financial crisis situation is just getting started. We've yet to see the fallout from the banks, and they're so heavily underwater on their loan portfolio. Take a look at this here out of BizNow. 44% of U.S. office loans are underwater, threatening more bank failures. And what's likely to happen when more banks fail? Well, the banks that are still going, still operating, they're likely to be much more restrictive on their lending, especially if they see these banks are not being rescued, if that were to happen. So they could be way more restrictive. That's going to mean less people able to buy vehicles, homes. Credit card rates could drop. They could drop the ceilings on these credit cards. And what's that going to do? That's going to really put a monkey wrench into the economy. And then you'll start seeing more layoffs, more price declines in all the things that people finance, homes, vehicles. And now even people, when you look at it, they finance their food, because most people living paycheck to paycheck, swiping credit cards just to get by. We might even see some of these food prices come down. 62% of Americans living paycheck to paycheck. It's been between 60 and 70% for a while. I'm actually surprised that hasn't increased. I'd have to question that particular number, because with the levels of debt that we're seeing, I doubt that it's still at 62%. I'm thinking we're somewhere between 70 to 75%. But that's, how the news likes to keep it. They don't like to, put certain information out there, because then people could get concerned, and then people might pull back even more on spending. And then the economic downturn could happen much more quickly once people catch on to what's really happening. But people aren't happy with the regular news that they're getting on their television, on the cable networks. In fact, there's an article out here. We have a lot more media layoffs that are coming right around the time of the new year. We already have witnessed this year massive layoffs by outlets including Vox, Vice, and this one, Conde Nast. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. And it's only going to get worse as people, I think, become aware of what's really happening in economic reality, amongst other things, with the way things are being reported. And it's just going to get worse, folks. We got to brace for this. Could there be massive inflation in general, the cost of living? They cut rates, anything's possible. It all depends on the bank lending. That's just a huge part of it, because the only reason why prices are where they're at now is because of the issuance of credit, aka debt, that people then turn around and use to bid up prices of assets and goods and everything else, right? So when the bank lending gets cut off or declines, that's going to tell you the real direction of prices, the cost of living, inflation, and the economy, right? So we're going to be here to report on it, folks. What do you guys think about the top 10 cars? Mostly electric vehicles. Why? Well, you know my reasons here why I wouldn't own an electric vehicle. There's a time and a place for electric vehicles, but for most people, they're finding out that they're not as convenient as they had hoped. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. This whole thing goes back to the banks, lending, and people ran towards electric vehicles when gas prices really started surging. Now gas prices are coming down, so there's a huge drop off in demand for vehicles in general, but especially electric vehicles, because so many people were frightened with the high gas prices and ran out and bought an electric vehicle, thinking that at the end of the day, if gas prices are so high, they're going to end up saving a bunch of money. Well, they're going to end up losing a bunch of money now if you look at their negative equity in their vehicles. Anyways, what do you think about all this? Please let me know down in the comments. Thanks everybody for being here. Keep stacking. We'll talk to you soon. Bye now.